I think a lot of people think that because these sawmill towns were located in isolated rural areas, that they were probably primitive. I didn't find that to be the case at all. I think that they were good-sized towns. Sunburst was certainly a good-sized town. It had a general store, 3 schools, a church, commissary, barbershop, a camp for 100 people. It had a boarding house, the Hips boarding house, and it had the Sunburst Hotel that had 40 rooms.
There were long rows of plank houses along the side of the mill pond and back on the hill, and every other one was painted brown, green, or white, or excuse me, yellow, and they had white trim along them.
A quarter mile on up the river was a 15-room clubhouse that was for visiting lumber merchants, and it had a 12-room building for staff. There was also a box factory that provided work for women, and they sold those boxes to Barber's Orchard or to other apple growers.
There was an extensive telephone system in place, and my dad was always fascinated by this because he liked the electronic kind of things. But it was a battery-operated, wall-type phone, and in all the operations, they were connected throughout the woods. And the thing that he said, they operated with a crank, and they had a series of cranks or rings, and so they could tell who was calling whom. But the thing I thought most interesting was, he said they had like little booths along at integral places along the railroads.
Sunburst had 150 of these battery-powered phones throughout the woods, and at least 25 homes had telephones installed. Some houses even had electricity and indoor plumbing, though this was not common.
There was a pool hall and a pavilion. There were dances were held, and they always had some type of live music. Someone played the French harp, the Jew's harp, the banjo, the fiddle. There was always music available. And when the pond froze over in the winter, the young people liked to skate on it.
And my grandfather would be so stressed out and tired, he didn't want to do nothing but rest. He was the only musician, and people would beg him, and they'd come and get him, and he wouldn't go, he wouldn't go, he wouldn't go. And finally, so many people would come by and ask him, he'd finally break down, and he would go play music, for the whole day.